Just watching this video about it was like an analysis of The Stranger by Albert Camus, um, which I in recent years discovered absurdism, and it made me angry at first, and I think that's a sign for me personally that like it's going to be something that I have to think about and will discover the truth in my own time of it. And it got me thinking. So I listened to this really great guy, Joe Foley, from Unsolicited Advice. I really just think he's very wise and can learn a lot from him. I do learn a lot from him, but kind of just got me thinking about how absurdism can be a coping skill in a way for me, which I definitely had inklings of knowing, but definitely also outright refused at first. If you're not familiar with absurdism, it's basically the belief that life is inherently meaningless. The only meaning is prescribed by humans, and that how we can cope with this meaninglessness in life is by accepting that we live in an absurd reality where we are desperate for meaning, and yet it only comes from what we make of it, you know? And again, my understandings are not, professionally taught, I just, it's just my own curiosity that's led me to these understandings, and I am always willing to be proven wrong. But I had just made a video talking about how, it feels almost like shameful to be happy in times where, Americans are being sent to concentration camps and stuff like that. And he was talking about in The Stranger how Mercer, or whatever, I don't know how to pronounce his name, his indifference basically sets him aside from everyone and isolates him. He doesn't feel devastation over losing his mother. He doesn't feel remorse over having an affair or luring a woman to be beat up by someone else or even killing a man. And that when he's on trial, what he is mostly on trial for is people misunderstanding that, like, him as a person, how not being able to comprehend how he doesn't have values, how everything is inherently meaningless to him. And, this is obviously an allegory by Camus for the meaninglessness and indifference of the universe. And in the end, he makes peace by feeling as though he is known by the universe, who shares his indifference and his meaninglessness in all things. And I thought it was interesting because it really highlights how in the philosophy of absurdism, what brings you happiness is going to be that meaning that you create for yourself. And for Mercer, he found meaning in not being alone. And, the whole book is called The Stranger. It's about his feelings of isolation, how it does truly matter to him. I see someone, Jasper Jensen. Hi. Hello. How do I say hi back? Oh, I don't know if I can comment. But, here. Let me see. Nope. I cannot comment back. So I will just say hello on here. But yeah, I really need to read that book, The Stranger, by Albert Camus. And it was really interesting, though, watching Joe Foley's analysis of it. And it's got me thinking about, in my own life, how absurdism can bring a level of comfort, not because we understand, but because we don't. And we accept that we don't understand, if that makes sense. And maybe it won't make sense to everyone, but in a way it does to me. And with, own things going on in my life and in the country and everything like that, there is a level of absurdity that exists, that people can be so outwardly cruel and aggressive to others, and we just accept that, regardless of our own morals and values, you know? And, I don't know. Somewhere in there's a way to make peace of it for me, but I think a lot of finding that peace, too, I'm finding parallels in cognitive behavioral therapy and absurdism, which sounds absurd in itself. But when we allow ourselves to become so drained and exhausted and depressed over the things that we cannot directly control, it really doesn't help us, or anyone else for that matter. Hello, Matt. I'm just ranting and don't really have a plan here, so apologies. But thanks to the people tuning in, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Are any of you into philosophy or absurdism? You can leave a comment below and I'll see it. I can't comment back, but yeah, I don't know. I think that I still have a lot to learn, obviously, about absurdism, and I definitely want to read more of Camus' works, or at least people analyzing them, so I don't have to actually read it. But, you know, whatever. Work smarter, not harder, right? If someone else read it and analyzed it, then I can just listen to theirs and make my own analysis of that. No, I'm half kidding. I do still want to read it, but, yeah, I feel like absurdism is very, like, counterintuitive for a lot of people. I mean, the whole premise of absurdism is that we all want meaning. And I find that to be true in my own life, and I think many other people want there to be inherent meaning or purpose in our existence, but I do believe that there really is not. It is only humans that have created meaning. Hello, Matt. You say you love humor. Yeah, I love absurdist humor as well. I definitely think there's a lot of humor in the absurd. I read this book once about the psychology of humor, and it said one of the things that humans find the most hilarious is something unexpected happening, the opposite, actually, of what we expect to happen happening. And I think that's definitely visible and true in humanity. You know, we find the absurd hilarious. And I do think that perhaps that gives a little bit of insight, because in some regards, the absurd can be depressing as well. And as someone who has struggled a lot with depression and being a negative Nancy, being able to find humor is definitely another perspective that I think is super helpful. Matt said, the irony in life is we breathe. If you'd love to expand on that, I'd love to listen. I do think the irony of life is that the only thing promised to us is we will die. We are not promised health or love or connection. It's all the things we want. We're not promised meaning either. We are only promised death in the end, and it is given to everyone. It is the one thing that we can truly count on in life, and that is absurd in itself, isn't it? God, there's a moth, and my cat is going crazy trying to catch it. I don't know, I have this kind of weird tension between wanting to honor the mundane and also find meaning within it, which is silly in itself, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I guess there really are just always multiple ways of looking at things. Wait, cats get high off eating moths? I'm gonna have to Google that to, like, fact check, but, like, what? My cat, like a wannabe stoner. Oh my god, Jenny, you're gonna, she's choked up. Here, you guys can see the moth and my cat. You get it? Did you get it? I don't know if she got it. But yeah, I appreciate everyone sticking around for this silly little impromptu live chat. I didn't really have a direction. Some moths can make cats trip. That's funny. Like a toad licking or something. Well, I think she got it, so she's probably about to freak out even more then, huh? I wonder what kind of moths. I've seen a lot of really big moths around here recently. We have these really big flowers on the side garden. I saw a moth. Literally, its wings were like about 4 inches from end to end. It was quite large. Um, oh, did you catch it? Did you catch the moth? You freaking out, man? Just freaking out a little, you know? It's a little ironic too, you know, the video I just made before being all like depressed and feeling, you know, selfish for wanting to be happy. And then now here, trying to find the humor and comfort in the absurd. It's really hard, I feel like, to detach from our desire for meaning and purpose. Because when life feels pointless, you know, it seems like what's the point? But I really feel like the point is what we make of it, you know. Matt said, I told you, look at the eyes on that thing. Yeah, I know. I think you're right, Matt. I don't know where she's at now. She might be hiding under here. Yep, she's under there. I don't know if you guys can see. Where are you going? Crazy girl. Why are you eating moths? Oh my god, your pupils are huge. She's so funny. Oh, she's gonna... Please don't jump at the wall again. Oh my goodness. What do you see? Why are you so crazy? You little hunter? It's a nice night out. It's pretty hot. It's a nice night out. I think I might go for a walk in a sec. Just try and burn off some of this thoughtful energy. You ever been so, like, deep in your thoughts that you just, like, want to not? Let's see. I think the best part of this world is that nothing really has a purpose. Oh, thank you, Matt, for saying I'm a beautiful soul. I like to think that about myself. I don't know if I truly believe that, but I think we all are beautiful in our own ugliness, in a way, if that makes sense. You know, God loves ugly, or whatever Atmosphere said. But, yeah, I do think that when we free ourselves from the idea that there is an inherent predestined purpose or meaning, there is a level of liberation that comes with knowing that we get to choose our purpose, we get to choose our actions, and we get to create meaning in whatever we would like. And definitely creating meaning in the mundane, like doing dishes or going for a walk or just petting a cat, has made my life more enjoyable. I lived a long time, like, resentfully living, if that makes sense, like, resentful for my life, and it did not lead to a happy one. Matt says, free will is a dangerous road. It is both as dangerous and as beautiful as it is dangerous. You know, the whole with great power comes great responsibility thing. I do think that, yeah, a lot of people choose to do wrong with their free will. And we end up with these, like, cycles of pain that people push onto others to... They do it when they don't know how to deal with the pain themselves. They don't want to internalize the pain, and so they externalize it. They blame other people and use that as justification to harm others. When you see the world as an inherently dangerous and suspicious place, it makes you more aggressive. And I know because I've lived that. But also, too, on the other side of that token, when you live life in this naive bubble believing that everyone will be as loving and kind as you would like to be, you end up getting hurt, because I've also lived that side of it too. And so finding that balance is really, I feel like, key. And that's kind of been a common theme in all of my lessons in life. I'll hit one end of the pendulum of extremes and then go over to the other, and neither satisfies me. And Matt said, how much do I owe for this therapy session? Nothing, it's free. I'd lecture to no one for nothing. It's called I Can't Shut Up Itis. And, yeah. But, yeah, I was just gonna say in my own personal life, I found that the middle path is the fuller picture. When we can see both opposites in union with one another, there is a unity that comes from the duality. And I've been on that kick of understanding for the last, 9 months of, seeing that duality, though I feel like a lot of people see duality as, separation, it's also balance and wholeness. We don't get the whole picture when we only are looking at positives or only looking at negatives, and we really don't have the ability to truly make informed decisions when we don't have the full picture. Oh, that's so sweet of you, Matt. Unfortunately, I'm just a human. I'd be really sick if I was like an angel or had some cool powers. But I do think that there is such a thing as divine timing, and sometimes when we need something to be said or need to hear something, it'll come to us as long as we stay open. And openness has definitely been how I've been trying to approach my own spiritual journey. Being open to being wrong, especially, has been huge for me. And you have to have a certain level of humility to be willing to admit you're wrong. Because, human ego wants to be right and valid all the time, but that's not realistic. And so I think, too, when we can relinquish the shame for being wrong, it helps us to be right, when we're not so caught up in trying to defend our wrongness, it allows for room to learn and grow into something more whole. Matt said, I love being wrong and admitting it. It really is freeing to admit you're wrong. And there are some things I love that I'm wrong about. I don't always want to be wrong. There's a lot of times where I do love to be right, especially in parent-child dynamics. But even with my child, there is a sense of freedom and relief that comes from saying, you know what? You were right. I was wrong. And I'm learning to find, too, a sense of joy in being wrong, because it's an opportunity to learn and do better. And I think that's a really hard thing for a lot of people, or at least people like myself, to come to terms with. I know that I was subconsciously dealing with the belief that being wrong was basically a statement on my intrinsic value or worth as a human, and that's not true at all. Matt said, it sucks being smart and being wrong. The roots dig deeper. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily smart. I feel like there's so much more I don't know than that I do know. Half the time I'm just confused and mildly functioning. But, yeah, when you definitely have learned about something in particular, to be wrong about it in a place that you really thought you had a bunch of knowledge, there is a level of shame that comes with it, but I find it to be unnecessary shame. Maybe a touch, but I feel like a lot of people will feel an excessive amount of shame to the point where it makes them double down and be unwilling to open their mind to something else. And in my own personal life, I've definitely been big on trying to take my initial perspective and flip it upside down so I can see the opposite, even if it's just to reinforce that I was right before, which, cognitive bias and all that. But sometimes it really helps me to see that I was very wrong, to go look at the exact opposite side. And I went through a little journey myself with trying to, wow, you're the best live I've ever seen. I would love to FaceTime. Maybe. We can talk on here for a little bit, though. You can add me on my socials, and we can message there, and you can see pictures of my lame life if you would like. I think I have my link tree in my YouTube bio. But thank you. I really appreciate that compliment. I don't know how this is a good live, but You know, it's fine. I'm not like in the TikTok drama, which, all the TikTok lives, I feel like they'll get like thousands of views, and it's just like a mom ignoring her child and like leaving dirty diapers. I'm like, what is happening to this world? But whatever. Anyways, forgot what I was saying before I got complimented. How is it not the best? I can't really speak to the caliber of people who go live on YouTube, so, I'll just say that I don't know. um, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh well. If it's important, it'll come back, right? I appreciate the people watching my ranting about nothing in particular. In and of itself, it's a little absurd, right? That, like, me, a nobody, can just, like, go live on an app and strangers will watch and compliment me for my simplicity. You're the most genuine soul I've ever seen. Thank you. I wasn't always this way, and I think it's taken a lot of hard work to really be able to become the authentic version of myself. And I think it's really nuanced, too, because a lot of what we believe to be our true selves is really things we were subconsciously taught in childhood by society, and becoming ourselves is more of an unlearning process, I believe, than anything else. I've had to unlearn a lot of expectations that I had for myself to, be a certain way, financially successful, look a certain way, and in that unlearning is how I became more genuine, I think. And we all could benefit from, not even, maybe unlearning is too strong of a word, but really just reconsidering with context and nuance the standards that we hold for ourselves and others subconsciously, Still thinking about The Stranger by Albert Camus, and, we never really will know what's going on in someone's head unless, we become mind readers or something, which if you're a mind reader, teach me how. But, no, I'm just kidding. I'm too anxious for that. I don't want to hear what everyone's thinking about me. Um, but, and in that way, though, there's always this sense of isolation that will occur when we're amongst other humans. And we can either be depressed by it, or we can learn to find a sense of comfort in the fact that there are things that we'll just never know. Life humbles, breaks, and molds. Life definitely does humble, break, and mold. And if it doesn't, you're not really living, in my opinion. But that's just my measly opinion, so. Yeah. Finding comfort in the unknown is also very counterintuitive for, I feel like, every human. We want to know, because life is just making sense of things, and so the more we can make sense of, the more it comforts us, and when we can't make sense of something, it discomforts us, and for some reason we just have this desire for comfort all the time, unless you're like an aesthetic monk or something. But I think even then, the reason they live that life is because they do have such a desire for comfort that they feel that it needs to be negated with, aestheticism. Like, desire itself is a weird thing. Even desiring to not have desires is a desire. That's the mind fuck of it. Wanting to have a good experience is a negative experience, because you're not having a good experience, you want it, right? And I found that being able to be present in, like, gratitude has been one of my strongest tools for combating any kind of really negative emotion, whether it's exhaustion, depression, stress, anger. Like, really, not just cognitively saying, yes, I'm grateful for this, that, or the other, but really allowing myself to feel the visceral experience of joy and gratitude, like I don't know really how to describe it. That physical feeling, like, surely you must know what I'm talking about if you're a human who's experienced joy, which, maybe not all of us have. But allowing myself to become, like, hyper aware of the physical sensations of joy, and then allowing myself to cognitively express that, like, or make sense of that gratitude feeling, um, has really helped. And I know that a lot of spiritual teachers or whatever really talk about being present in your awareness, and it's easier said than done. I find when we are thinking abstractly or conceptually, we are not present in the moment. And that is something that silently steals our joy because we're not here experiencing it. But I'm just going on a rant. Just remember that I know nothing. Like, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm just a confused human. So, do with that, anything I say, do with it what you will. I've made a lot of mistakes in my own life, and I have a lot of flaws that I'm working on, but I think that the ability to be painfully honest with oneself is one of the most useful tools for navigating growth in life. And it's so hard. It's way easier said than done. Be honest with yourself. And I feel like even on the other side of that spectrum, where you're, like, not thinking highly of yourself and you're thinking worse of yourself than you are, you're still not being honest with yourself. Like, I struggled a lot with intrusive self-deprecating thoughts, and in a way, I see it as, like, this form of inverse narcissism, where it's like, everyone else is great but me. Like, you're still, like, holding yourself separate from everyone else. You just think you're worse than everyone instead of better. And it's still just as harmful. My cheeks are probably just shining because I'm sweating, Matt. But, thank you. It is getting quite damp out here. Like, it kind of feels like a sauna, low-key. I don't know where anyone else watching this is in the world. I am in Missouri, Midwest, and it rained today, so there's, like, even more moisture in the air, and it just feels like a fucking sauna. So, you come out and you're just instantly covered in sweat. My cat is still on the hunt for moths as well. What? She's camera shy, huh, Junie? Yeah, you camera shy. You're a pretty girl, though. Well, I'm probably gonna go for a walk now, and that I've talked everyone's ear off with nothing particularly important. But I do hope that I can use my voice to, if not just connect with people, like, make people think. Even if you completely disagree with me, and you don't see things the way I see them, I love the idea of being able to provoke thoughts in others. Not, like, in a bad way provoke, but, like, I just feel like a lot of people don't think as much as we ought to. Myself included, I definitely am guilty of distracting myself with YouTube videos or TV shows or books even. Well, I read a lot of articles more so, or, like, listen to people who read books, which, yeah, I know that's lazy. This is the I'm talking about that's hard. No one wants to admit that they're lazy. But I definitely lost my train of thought again, too. I don't know. I just hope that I can make people think about things differently, because I know how much it has saved me, literally, to be able to think about things differently. Aw. Yeah, Matt, if you want to, after I hang up this live, like, go to my link tree, find my Facebook, and you can message me for sure. I love having genuine conversations with people. It's weird on live because you can only text and I can only talk. But yeah, hit me up on Facebook, and we can have. What is the Facebook? Um, it's Lolly V, so it's the first three letters of my name, my last name. So Lolly is Lolly, and then VIE. Um, my last name is Vieira, like it says on my other, like my YouTube and stuff like that. But when I made the Facebook, I was under the impression that my name would be too difficult for people to pronounce or say, and I like that V is Latin for like live or life. um, I am now of the understanding of let people choke on my full last name. If you can't pronounce it, that's on you. um, Newton says hi. Yes, Matt, that is, yeah, it's Lolly V. That's my Facebook. Again, my link tree will have all my links in there as well, so I don't know if you'll be able to find it searching. I'm not super popular. I have like a little over 1,000 followers on there. It's not a lot, but yeah, I definitely am interested in connecting with people who want to have like real, genuine conversations for sure. Oh, thank you, Newton, for saying I'm pretty. I feel like I look like a sweaty mess right now, but I appreciate the compliment. I'm gonna take it. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for this live. Matt said he sucks with social media. Yeah, I guess me too. I mean, like, but it's not really like a bad thing to suck at social media, because what is social media but fake, life? It's just, well, it's not fake. It's digital. I'm just trying to become a ninja. Yeah, that'd be cool to be a ninja. I'm not physically fit enough to be a ninja myself. But, maybe in another life, I was. I definitely have had some really cool dreams where I could do really cool, like, ninja moves and, like, superpower stuff. But, real life is a little less fantastical. And then digital life is just like an emanation, like projection of real life, but like only the good parts. I feel like a lot of people only put the good parts of their life on social media, which I create more for social media than I like consume, and it has helped me a lot. I'm glad that I've made you smile and laugh, Matt. That really, really means a lot to me. Like, genuine connection is rare to find. Oh, Newton's heading out. Bye. Hope you have a good night. But yeah, I think one of the only redeeming qualities of social media is the ability to make those real connections that will carry out into your real life in person. Because I mean, if y'all have looked at like boomers with their fucking selfie like this angle, they'll get like 500 likes, and I'm like, okay, but like my in-depth like analysis post got like 4. Okay, likes on social media are not a determiner of the value of the content. Let's just say that. But yeah, I'm still largely on social media, much to my own dismay. But I do it because I want to connect with the people outside of my physical sphere, because I really don't go out and do stuff a lot. I don't go to bars. I don't really drink. I go to parks, but it's like, what do you do? Just talk to random strangers? I guess you can. I'm not that confident or outgoing, though. I'm not just going to approach someone at a park and be like, hey, I'm Lolly. How are you? But yeah, I'm gonna head off here, go for a little walk. Matt, you add me on Facebook and we will have more good talks. Thank you so much to the people that stayed and watched for over a half hour of me just talking to myself, and I don't know what that says about me being able to literally just talk for 30 something minutes, but it is what it is. Acceptance, and I started this off wanting to talk about absurdism, so I'm going to tie it all, make it full circle here. It is mildly absurd to me, the way that the world works with social media, but instead of fighting it or trying so desperately to understand it, I just accept it. And making peace with it makes my life more gentle and easy to bear. So I hope you all have a really good night, and I look forward to connecting with you, Matt, and anyone else who wants to add me on Facebook as well, you can. I see that, I'm gonna butcher this name, Pankaj Ray. I'm so sorry that I mispronounced your name. I see you just joined. I'm just leaving though. Hello and goodbye. I hope everyone has a really good night. I will see you all later. Bye.